درشون میرسه که مرتبا میگه رئیس جمهور آمریکا که ارتش ما قوی‌ترین ارتش دنیاست. قوی‌ترین ارتش دنیا ممکنه اونچنان گاهی سیلی بخوره که از جا نتوانه بلند شه. ناو فرستادیم طرف ایران. خیلی خوب، ناو البته یک دستگاه خطرناکی است، اما خطرناکتر از ناو اون سلاحی است که می‌توانه این ناو رو به قعر دریا.
Well, consider the fact that Washington is assembling one of the largest concentrations of U.S. air and naval power in the Middle East since Iraq was attacked in 2003. The strategic objective, whether you're sitting in Iran or Moscow or Beijing or Damascus or Ankara, is obvious. It can be inferred from the composition of the attacking force. A level of destruction intended to induce the collapse and disintegration of the Iranian state and its society. That's what this is about. This is not a demonstration designed to persuade people that they should wake up and pay attention. This is destruction, the likes of which we have not seen really, in my judgment, since 1991. And the goal is clear: disintegrate the state and its society. Then we can pretty much do what we want with it, as well as with its oil resources and with the rest of the region. The application of massive firepower from a distance will be stunningly effective and decisive. Now, there are reasons why they think that. They tend to equate explosions on the ground with effectiveness. In other words, look at that tremendous explosion. Surely this must be having an impact, whether or not it does. And it takes time to determine that. The other part is in the preparation stage, in the frenzy of analytical targeting, focused on precision strikes against the opponent's critical nodes, transportation systems, weapons, energy grids, and key leaders. Suddenly, the U.S. military's limitations and gaps in knowledge are lost. In other words, we don't necessarily see ourselves objectively. We see ourselves as absolutely, indisputably capable of dominating everything. So the planning process itself is so convincing that it galvanizes resistance to diplomacy, and it persuades the president, the Secretary of War, I assume, and the senior military advisors that an air and missile campaign alone will compel the opponent to submit to Washington's demands. And this is not surprising. Remember, presidents rarely concern themselves with the details of military operations. And Washington's political class has at most a cocktail level of familiarity with war and the limits of military power. The truth is irrelevant. In fact, it's fungible. You can twist it, turn it, any direction that you like, as long as you can control the media and you can control the legislature and the White House. And that's effectively what's going on. He's repeating the Israeli mantra. You know, when you talk about Venezuela, we need to understand a couple of things. We snatched Maduro and his wife because we went in on the ground and paid off a lot of people. And yes, Delta did a brilliant job. Delta, along with the Ranger Regiment, these are exceptionally good troops, and they have a lot of technology. It came off well, and I'm very happy about that. But we don't control anything on the ground in Venezuela. The people in that country aren't paying any attention to us. That's certainly true for the current government. They may get on the phone and tell you, yes, that's wonderful, and listen to whatever Secretary Rubio, you know, the aspiring viceroy of Latin America, wants to tell them. But they could care less. They're going to do whatever they damn well want to do, and there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, we can stand offshore and we can capture any oil tankers that come out. But eventually they know we'll give up and go away. In fact, one can argue that that's happened to some extent because we've had to pull the battle group out. We've replaced them with a few ships. But the truth is that this is an illusion. But illusions are powerful. That's something that President Trump, as a reality TV star, understands very, very well. Everybody in Washington likes that. So we have the illusion of power and success in Venezuela. It's nothing to do with Iran. Iran is a civilizational state, a nation that has existed for 2,000 plus years. This is not going to roll over and play dead for us. This isn't going to be easy. And then finally, we have to take into consideration something else that General Jack Keane has routinely dismissed out of hand as irrelevant. The Russians and the Chinese are not walking away. They have a vested interest in the survival of the Iranian state.